What's going on, guys? Alright, so in this tutorial we'll be learning about tables. Now tables is essentially a great way to summarize any data that you want to use on your website. So here I have a mock-up of a table. Now this is the code in HTML. So how it starts off with is essentially like this. You have an opening table tag and a closing table tag, and then within that you have a tr tag. Now you can think of a tr tag as a row, and then within that row you have a cell which is a td tag. So that's a row and that's the columns within it. So I've set up this demonstration table here to show you what I mean. So this is the first row, this is the first cell, the first column, and then this is the second one. This is the second row, first column within that, and the second one. So now if I preview that, you see what I mean. See row 1, cell 1, row 1, cell 2, row 2, cell 1, row 2, cell 2. Now it's a bit difficult to see the lines between those content, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a border around this side. This is how you do this. You come over here and you type border and you set this attribute to 1 or 2 depending on how big you want the outlines to be. So I've set this to 1 so you can see how the table is formed. Now the next attribute I want to cover is the background color, BG color. So what you can do is set this to red. Now because I've applied this attribute on the table tag, that means I will apply to every single row and every single cell in the entire table. So now what if I wanted to target a specific cell, for example, say I want this one to be red. So what I do then is I'm going to take this out. I'm going to come down here. So it was row 2, which is this tag over here, and then cell 2, which is then this tag here. So then what I do is BG, so now there you go. Now the next thing I want to talk about is cell padding and cell spacing. To explain this a bit better, I want to show you a picture. Now this is what you call the box model. Now essentially how it works is that now you can view it as the content is actually here, and then there's actually like invisible padding around the text that you have, which is this, and then the border, and then the margin. Now in this you can think of it as a cell spacing for a table. So what this essentially is the box model, which is used in CSS to explain concepts and how you can actually adjust paddings, spacings between your different elements. Now you can think of every single HTML element as a box, and this is essentially what it contains and how it works. So now if I adjust the cell padding, what will happen is that imagine this is as one cell. So the content, the actual text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the padding between the text and the border. So I'll make it expand outwards. So if I set this to say 10 pixel and preview this, you can see what I mean. Do you see how the gap between the actual text and the border of that cell has increased? So if I increase that to 40, you see how much it gets. Now cell spacing, you can think of that as the margin as per the box model. So now what happens is that when I actually enter a value in here, do you see this second line here? Between the second line, that will expand outwards, leaving a gap between the cell line and the actual table line. So if I set that to 40, do you see how this and this, the gap has increased? So you can think of that as the margin. So that's it, guys. That's it for this tutorial, and I'll see you soon for the next tutorial.